When you think country music, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Your favorite artist? The city of Nashville? How about WSM Radio? Well, no matter what comes to mind, I think we can all agree that country music wouldn't be what it is today without the Grand Ole Opry. So we thought it would be a good idea to pay tribute to that most enduring symbol of the music we know and love. So we invited tons of country music legends to join in the celebration. Singers, songwriters, the movers and shakers of country music history. These are the stories of the Opry you won't hear anywhere else. And the music and memories made on that stage will last for many generations to come. Join us, won't you, as Country's Family Reunion pays tribute to the Opry. Welcome to Country's Family Reunion. Salute to the Opry.
Country's Family Reunion, as we pay tribute in form of a big salute to the Grand Ole Opry. Did you hear what Terry Choate, our talent coordinator, said about this room and these chairs we're sitting in? He said, "I don't see how we could be doing a country music show in a room with so many rockers." Terry said that, I didn't.
Let's keep him off camera.
Ricky Skaggs joined the Opry in 1982 as we're taping this 30-something years ago. Sang country music for a long time, then went strictly bluegrass.
Well, yeah, kind of strictly. Hardly strictly, actually. Yeah.
Well, you carry on, and we'll get to this a little later on. You carry on the tradition of the bluegrass and the Bill Monroe, but I did not realize your first record in 1980 was an old bluegrass song written by Carter Stanley.
Yeah, I recorded an album back in those days. We called them albums, and back last century, and it was called Sweet Temptation. I was with Emmy Lou working in her band. I joined her in 1978, and just really wanted to have a shot of trying to mix bluegrass and traditional country together. And so in '79, I did this record. The whole album, got it finished and put it out. And this song was released as a single and went #1 down in Houston, Texas at KIKK Radio, Joe Ladd. And I had no idea, it'd been #1 for a couple, 2-3 weeks, and I didn't even know it, And Chuck Morgan from the Opry called me one time and wanted to know if I'd, said, "Man, you got a hit." Said, you want to come down to the Opry sometime and sing? Said, "We'd love to have you down here." So that was wasn't my first time on the Opry. I'd been on the Opry at the Ryman. Mr. Acuff had invited Ralph Stanley when I was 16. Me and Keith Whitley came and did, during the Early Bird Bluegrass Festival, got to do the Opry there. And anyway, it was a great time, and I love the Grand Ole Opry. I love it so much. It's just the greatest institution, longest running radio show in the whole wide world, and started with a dang fiddle. Come on, Woody. Yeah, man. Hank. What? Hank, so
Woody and Hank are violinists.
Oh, yeah, right. They're trying to keep violence off the street. They got arrested.
Play the fiddle, keep violence off the street. That's a good one.
You got your couple of pretty good background singers here.
These girls have been standing with me a long time.
We'll be standing with you when they're long gone, I'll tell you.
That's right.
There's a story to that.
Yeah, that's one of my dad's old sayings right there. But no, they've helped me sing this song so many times. Emmy Lou and myself, we were a fine trio. And we did this, she sang harmony with me on this record. But all the live stuff, the girls have sung this with me. And I love singing with Sharon and Cheryl. They're my best friends, and me and Miss Sharon's been married 31 years. So, yeah, a lot to say.
Well, you married her then before you became an Opry member.
Yep, sure did.
Now, were you an Opry member? Were the Whites Opry members?
We joined the Opry in '84.
Oh, okay.
So.
Right after the Riders. We were the next ones after them. They sent us flowers welcoming the new ones. Yeah.
Lay this old song on us, Ricky Skaggs.
All right, boys, I'll take the blame.
Happy home. another time will tell. I know, dear, what it means to live without you. These lonely nights are driving me insane. But before I'll hurt the one I love so dearly, when people ask what's wrong, I'll take the blame. Play it, boys. That's a country band right there. The blame. Yes, when people ask what's wrong, I'll take the blame.
Oh, that is terrific. Thank you.
I don't know if I could get signed nowadays with that kind of sound, but that is sure country.
I don't know if any of us could this day and time. You paid tribute, acknowledged the band here, and they do a wonderful job behind everybody that's on Country's Family Reunion. And
absolutely.
I never like to let one of these sessions pass without acknowledging all of them and the hard work they put in. The leader over there on the steel guitar. Been doing this with us ever since the beginning, which was back in 1997 from Montgomery, Alabama, Mr. Mike Johnson, one of the great steel guitar players in the world. And on the keyboards or the piano, any combination of most anything like that, one of the best in the whole business from over in the state of Virginia, Mr. Dirk Johnson, no relation to Mike. The violinist in the group.
Sound like a fiddle player to me.
One of the best fiddle players, and he gets fan mail too, because it comes to me and I forward it to him. Mr. Hank Singer. And the sheriff. Have you arrested anybody today, Sheriff? Everybody's been behaving. But you've got your badge and your gun and your bullet, right? From North Carolina, the great Mr. Jimmy Capps. Now we got two Johnsons and we got two singers, but no relation anywhere from the state of Illinois. Mr. Les Singer on the acoustical guitar. You gonna play the banjo any today? Not today, just the acoustical. Back on the drums, the son of a great musician and record producer for many, many years, particularly down in Muscle Shoals and then later in Nashville. Barry Beckett was his name. This is Mark Beckett playing the drums and holding it all together for us. Mark, thank you, buddy. I guess that's everybody.
Hey, no. Hey, you got a bass player.
Give David Smith a hard time. Our great bass player, David Smith. Thank you. All of the guys, we owe them a lot because they work hard for all of us.
Singers. You got the singers back there?
What singers? I introduced Hank Singer and Les Singer. Is there more singers?
We got three of the best back here.
I know we do. I'm just kidding with them because I love them. I wasn't going to forget you. I was going to get to you. They are the Opry background singers. On the far left over there is Mr. Dennis McCall. Do you claim kin to Daryl McCall?
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
Depends on how good it's been that month.
Of course, Daryl's a great friend of ours from down in Texas. In the middle, the prettiest one of them, and the wife of Dwayne Allen, you know that, with the Oak Ridge Boys, Miss Nora Lee Allen. Did you ride your motorcycle out here today, Rodney?
I did not.
Did not. He rides his motorcycle to the Opry many occasions. Rod Fletcher, ladies and gentlemen, and thank y'all very much for all your help with all that you do.
Becky,
All right.
but Bill, he wrecked that motorcycle.
I'm sorry?
He wrecked that motorcycle.
He did?
He's still in pieces in my barn.
He ran into your barn?
No. But no, he managed to get it over to the barn, but he took it all apart and it's still in pieces, laying all over the floor.
Are you going to put it back together for him?
Pardon?
Behind the barn.
I said, are you going to put it...
I ain't fooling, no siree.
What? Are you going to repair it for him?
No, I'm watching him. But he's awfully slow with it. You know, he only comes over about 1 hour a day because he's still out here singing, you know, and rehearsing, and he does the opera and all. He doesn't have much time to do anything in my barn.
Can you physically put a motorcycle back together?
Yeah, can.
How long will it take you?
Depends on how much time I get at it. It's not that bad. It got a little boogered up. It fell over.
You didn't
With me on it.
You didn't have a wreck. With me on it.
It's a long story. It's not bad. I didn't
Okay.
get hurt. That's all that matters.
That is exactly what matters. That's funny. You got a song?
I've got a song, yeah, I do. I want to kind of pay tribute and remember Skeeter Davis today. When I first started singing, and I was learning to sing harmony, and my brother Bernie had taught me what he could, you know, teaching me. But Skeeter came out with an album years ago that said, I'll sing you a song and harmonize too. Y'all remember that, I'm sure. And I took that album and I would kind of isolate her lead vocal and then just kind of tune my ear in and try singing the harmony. So she really, really helped me learn to sing harmony. I learned everything kind of backwards, but she was one of my favorite entertainers, one of the most unique people I know. And I got to tell this story about Skeeter too, as most everybody knows what a great Christian Skeeter was, and so, but she was always saying, oh, I'm just praying this is going to happen. Or, you know, Jeannie, I prayed last night that this, and I'm praying for you right now before you do this song. And one time I told her, I said, Skeeter, if you pray every time you say you do, and I'm sure that you do, then I said, then you've got that line to God tied up. And there is absolutely no way I could ever get through. So I said, would you just go ahead and say a prayer for me? Just mention me to him, you know. So it was several months or so later, she called me. She said, I guess you know that there is no way that I can say my prayers that I don't mention you, because I always say, oh, God, bless Jeannie too, because she couldn't get through. I've been talking to you. But anyway, I hope I can do semi-justice to her song, Rockabye Boogie.
Now, didn't she record this as the Davis sisters back when she and Betty Jack were singing together?
I believe she did.
She did too. Yeah. But she sang this a lot on the Opry.
Yeah, and then I had heard too that, and Gene Shepard could probably tell whether this was true, but I had heard that that was why she started doing the, as we call overdubbing, the harmony, trying to recreate the Davis Sisters sound, because she sang the harmony with the Davis Sisters, which was such a unique sound.
Yeah. And of course, Betty Jack, who was not really her sister, but they went as the Davis sisters, was killed in a wreck that Skeeter was very seriously injured in. Skeeter put up a long, tough battle with cancer. She died in 2004. I heard for years, people, how sick she was, but you never would. I mean, she had a fighting spirit that just didn't let it show.
Yes, she did. And you know what? She set such an example of courage for so many people. Because I would meet people after the shows that would say, I wasn't going to come out, I'm in treatment. And they'd have like a turban or scarf or something and say, but if Skeeter could do it, then I could do it too. She set a great example.
Skeeter was on several of our early family reunion shows, and I was looking at one the other day where she wore like a little sweater cap, but she was in there just cutting up with you and Jan, and I think Jean, y'all were singing some background stuff together. She never lost that spark or that sense of humor.
Not ever.
Bill, one of the more interesting interviews I ever did on Backstage at the Opry, we were always looking for something different instead of just sitting there talking. And one night we did a tour of Skeeter Davis's locker. And there, you know, she was an international artist, and there were literally souvenirs from every corner of the globe in there. It was really fascinating. She had a kimono from Japan and a little statue from China. It was an amazing thing. It was like just, we could have spent the whole show doing that.
Did she have any of her live ocelots or jaguars?
No, I kept waiting for something to jump out, but it didn't, thank goodness. But touring Skeeter's locker, that was interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Ricky and I went to Nigeria back in, was it 88 or 89 with a Christian group. We were part of we were the singers for this conference. It was a pastor's training conference, and the way they introduced us was Ricky and Sharon Skaggs from Tennessee, home of Skeeter Davis. And the people went, oh, you know. They didn't know us, but they knew Skeeter.
She had a large international following.
She sure did.
She really did, and toured in a lot of those places. I'm surprised she wasn't there with you.
Well, she should have been.
Yeah, she'd have dug it.
Yeah, we miss Skeeter. How about bringing us back some Skeeter Davis?
All right, we're going to try this.
Get on up there now, Jeannie.
Yeah. Take a deep breath, boys. Rockabye boogie is the latest way to rock your baby sleep. Rockabye boogie is guaranteed to rock your baby sleep. But it won't do a thing unless you sing the rockabye boogie to the beat. Rockabye boogie, rockabye boogie, rockabye, 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 rockabye boogie, rockabye. There was no lady who made her home with that low broken shoe. She had so doggone many kids, she didn't know what to do. Well, come on, baby, go to sleep, close those eyes of blue. Rockabye boogie, rockabye boogie, rockabye, 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 rockabye boogie, rockabye. All right, Mike. Rockabye boogie, oh rockabye boogie, sleeping in a big tree top. When the wind begins to blow, baby gonna rock the rock. When the bow breaks, the cradle will fall, baby gonna blow his top. Rockabye boogie, rockabye boogie, rockabye, 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 rockabye boogie, rockabye. He had his little old lamb, its face was white as snow. Everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Well, come on, baby, shut those eyes and off to dreamland go. Rockabye boogie, rockabye boogie, rockabye, 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 rockabye boogie, rockabye. Rockabye boogie, rockabye. Rockabye boogie, rockabye, rockabye boogie, rockabye, rockabye boogie, rockabye, rockabye boogie, rockabye boogie, rockabye, rockabye boogie, rockabye.
So what's the name of that song? You must have said Rockabye Boogie 400 times.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know who wrote that song. Does anybody?
They should have been paid by the word.
Everybody down
They
had a group going.
Yes.
Cheryl and Sharon and Ricky and Melvin and Jean and Jan.
Me and
Couldn't
Jan,
keep up
oh
with
boy,
you.
we're right on it.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that was
sang it with her.
good. That's,
I was
Too
thinking
Slim had a solo on his face, but nobody heard it.
yeah, thanks, man.
Yes, perfect.
I have more face in the monitor here.
That's it.
Thank you. So I need a snare drum.
I'm sure the cameras have picked up this lady sitting over there between Carol Lee and T. Graham Brown, and we haven't said anything at all about her. But I know she's a good friend of yours, and I know you've got some things to tell us about this lady whose name is Cindy Moore, but you could have fooled me. I would have thought it was Minnie Pearl.
Well, she is absolutely wonderful, and she and I worked together for several years. I did breakfast shows here in Nashville, and Cindy came on the show, as I recollect from the first time. She was subbing for Terry Williams just to sing harmony with me, and then she did a little mini thing, and we just all loved it so much we just ended up able to add her to the cast and do it. But she's very unique in how she presents Minnie, and she also does a tribute to her. And I don't want to tell too much about it, but I do know that, and I will say this, she may say it again, but she worked in Opryland Park, and she's actually studied under Minnie Pearl. Wow. And so she can tell you a little bit more about it, but the way I always used to introduce her on the breakfast shows is, all right, and now Cindy Moore as Cousin Minnie Pearl.
I'm just so proud to be here. Ooh, I love being with all you folks today and you good-looking fellers. Lawsy, I sure do love to look at you. It don't do me a bit of good, but I'm going to look at you anyhow. You know, I am kindly upset right now because as I was walking in here this morning, while this feller was walking alongside of me, I thought he'd give me a funny look. So I said, "Pardon me, feller, but did you give me a funny look?" He said, "Lady, you got a funny look, but I sure didn't give it to you." His name was Billy Dean. I've been looking at him all morning. He's what you call a hunk of burning love. Yes. And honey, darling, I know why you said that to me, because I had to get up extra early this morning. I come in on the train from Grinder Switch with my Uncle Nabob. He's a running around here somewhere, and I'm going to tell y'all about my Uncle Nabob. He's a sight for sore eyes. He's been known to take a nip or two of that hard stuff. He claims it steadies his nerves. Of course, a lot of times he gets so steady he don't move at all. And that makes his wife, my Aunt Ambrosia, it makes her so mad, so she decided one evening she was going to play a joke on him. She went down to the corner market store. She bought her one of them masks, you know, like the kids wear at Halloween. Well, she put that mask on, she hid outside in the bushes, and it was really late, about 8:30 or so. And here comes Uncle Nabob. He's all staggering up the sidewalk. Aunt Ambrosia, she jumps out from the bushes. She says, "Boo, I'm the devil." He said, "Well, shake hands with your kinfolk, because it done married your sister." Are y'all laughing back there? You better start laughing now, because it don't get no better than this. This is it. You know, I was doing a show one time, and this little girl come up to me. Y'all, she looked at me up and down, and she said, "Lady, you're not very hip. You need to get with it and do all that rapping stuff like they do on the radio." So I went home and I wrote me a Minnie Pearl rap. Y'all want to hear the Minnie Pearl rap? Y'all want to hear the Minnie Pearl rap? I know you do. It's going to rock your world. My name is Minnie Pearl. I wear my tag to the side. I'm walking through the house, so don't you try to hide. I got my knee-highs on and my orthopedic shoes. I used to be country, now I'm rhythm and blues. Howdy, howdy. Good night, Irene. I'm going to take my hat off. As Jeannie told you, my name is Cindy Moore, and for the past 30 years, I have been portraying this beloved character, Minnie Pearl, all across the country. I'm going to just tell you right now, I'm nervous because all of y'all are my idols, every cotton-picking one of you. I moved up to Nashville from Atlanta, Georgia in 1979 to sing and dance in the country show out at the Opryland theme park. And for some reason, the director asked me to not only sing and dance, he wanted me to impersonate the role of Minnie Pearl. And being a youngster back then, I didn't know anything about her. So I went out and I researched and I studied her. And as I did, I grew to love and respect the character. One day while I was performing, I ran out onto the stage. I looked into the audience, and there sat the real Minnie Pearl. Whoa. You can imagine my knees were knocking. But y'all, she was so great to me. She took me out of that show and into her house, her museum, where she worked with me and she trained me. And I even had the honor of doing a lot of shows with her. She was the most gracious lady I have ever met. And oh my goodness, she did so much for country music and for the community of Nashville as well. But I'm going to tell you something. When I moved up to Nashville at the ripe old age of 19 years old, I had no aspirations whatsoever to be standing before anybody dressed like this. Because you see, I came up here to be a big-time country western singer. And I had my 10 minutes of fame back in the early 80s. I was on the road with a group called Dave and Sugar. And as you know, they had 7 #1 hits. And George Strait back then, well, he was our opening act. And I'm so glad I could help that feller out with his career. Anyway, after being with Dave and Sugar for 2 years, just like all the Sugars, I got fired. I was least in the single digits, though. I was Sugar number 6. But anyway, after I was fired, I was devastated. But I went back to the theme park, and that's when I really started working a lot with Minnie. And Minnie looked at me and she said, "Cindy, you are a good little singer, but you're really funny. And if you will continue this legacy of mine, you can be working for the rest of your life." And she wasn't kidding, because I do it almost every single day, and I love it with all of my heart. And as you all know, in 1986, Sarah Cannon was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was a breast cancer survivor. She passed away from a stroke in 1996, and I'm here as an 11-year cancer survivor. So, you know, I wanted to follow in her footsteps, but not in that quite direction. But she taught me so much, and she was just such a joy to be around. And every time I go all over the country, and when people don't know who Minnie Pearl is, well, I just educate them. And I'll tell you, young and old, after I'm through with them, they love her. And I just tell you what, it is such an honor and a blessing to be able to put this hat on. I'm not the real Minnie Pearl, but I'm going to keep the legend going for everybody. Amen. And I'll tell you one thing. She used to always tell me, you reach for that moon, because you just might prick your finger on the edge of a star. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Cindy Moore, you are so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, because we knew Minnie and we loved her. There's several things went through my mind as you were doing that. I guess the first thing was, are you going to pass this gift along to somebody else?
Well, you know, I'll tell you something. Last year, a little girl, my neighbor, she's 9 years old, and she had to pick a country character or a Tennessee character, and she came over to my house and interviewed me. And so I made her a little hat and everything, and she went on stage at her school, and of course her friends were looking at her like, what is that? But the kids love it, and I want to do that. And I also do a thing. Last year we had 100 Minnie March, and I had about, 40 girls in the Christmas parade at Donaldson, and we were all dressed as Minnie Pearl, and we won the Best Element Award, too. But I just want people to really remember her, and I know all of y'all knew her and how wonderful she was, because if you think about it, You know, not many people take people under their wings nowadays. You know, they're all out there, and of course, we all have to make a living. But as a youngster, I just always remember looking at her thinking, oh my goodness, why are you picking me? But a lot of people don't know this, if you go to the Country Music Hall of Fame, all the plaques in the Hall of Fame have a date of birth and a date of death. But Minnie Pearl's plaque only has a date of birth. There's no date of death, because she never wanted the character to ever die.
Well, as long as you're carrying it on.
Don't make me cry. Don't you make me cry. I'll tell you what, she was so wonderful. And I remember I was telling T over here, he was telling me some stories about her backstage, and I said, well, have you ever been into her house where she held court? And he's like, what? If you ever got in trouble, he knows.
I know.
If you ever got in trouble by Miss Minnie, she would take you into her kitchen, and you would sit there and sit across from her, and she'd hold court.
She held court on me one time at the Opry backstage.
Oh, goodness gravy. Well, it's scary.
She said, when they were applauding, and I immediately started talking, and people quieted down, So when I got off stage, she called me over there, and she said, now look, son, don't ever talk over your applause. It's too hard to get. And I said, yes, ma'am.
That's right. That's right.
She did the same thing with little Jimmy Dickens, and he talks about it all the time. He said that he was talking over the punchlines and things, and Minnie took him aside. And I think everybody in here will probably agree, the greatest timing of any people in our business, the two greatest were Minnie Pearl and Jimmy Dickens, because they can tell the same stories forever. Ever, but that timing. And I can tell you've got that sense of timing, so you learned it well.
Well, one reason I wrote the rap is because I did want to get in with the younger crowd. So once we do that, they, come on into my world, and we just have a great time.
Oh, I think Minnie's up there smiling. I think she would love the rap.
Well, you know what? She actually heard it.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, because there's more to it than just what I did. And she said, well, I don't understand it, but as long as it gets a good laugh and you keep it clean, then that's good. But I have always been so appreciative to Celie over here, because when I worked with her in the breakfast shows, my goal every morning at 7 a.m. was to make her laugh.
And she did.
And not just doing Minnie, but just as Cindy, because Minnie always said to me, she said, you're not going to be exactly her, because I'm not her. She said, put a little bit of yourself into it, because I'm real good at off the cuff. I'll make fun of you in front of your face and behind you, whatever. She said, put a little bit of yourself into the character, and you will just really bring them into your fold. And I hope I do that. But with Celie, though, I like to change the words up on her and mess her up real good.
Minnie had one of the greatest philosophies about an audience, and we've all heard her say it. She said, you love them and they'll love you back. And they loved her back.
And you know what? From Cindy Moore's perspective, I love all of y'all, and I can feel that you love me back.
Thank you for
And I
keeping
thank you
that
that.
alive.
Thank you, Bill.
Cindy Moore, she's wonderful.
Bill, I don't know if you noticed my lapel pin or not. It's a Minnie Pearl hat. And this year, 2012, it will be the 100th birthday of Minnie Pearl. And the American Cancer Society has been celebrating all year long. And of course, that was a cause that was near and dear to Minnie's heart. And I proudly wear that lapel pin in honor of
Well, we have
Minnie.
the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center
Absolutely.
here in Nashville, named after her. And even though Sarah Cannon has passed away, Minnie Pearl will live forever.
And you know what's so neat about that? Minnie gave her name, Sarah Cannon, to the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center, and then the character's name, Minnie Pearl, to the Minnie Pearl Cancer Foundation, all on a handshake and agreement. There was no contract at all. And I just think that says so much for her. And she, like I said, she did so much for Nashville. And now the Minnie Pearl, Sarah Cannon Cancer Center is the #1 cancer center in the country.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Ray.
I can tell you so many things about Minnie and Henry and my wife Barbara and myself that would cap it off. I was in Las Vegas And my manager came to me and said, how would you like to have Minnie Pearl to be on the show with you, to open up the show? And I said, any excuse to be close to her would be enough. But as the time came, I got to thinking, now what if she goes out here on the stage, somebody who has had too much to drink, and start heckling her and giving her a bad time? I said, I don't know, but they'd have to come over me to get to it. I mean, I wouldn't stand for it. And then the night came to opening act, I'm back in the wings looking, and they're rolling in the aisles. And I'm thinking to myself, worry about yourself, Clark. She's done all the stories that we all know she was telling to this so-called sophisticated audience. Mm-hmm. And she was Minnie Pearl. She was not adapting to anything else.
Love it.
That's great. One other real quick thing, when Cindy was talking about the little girl dressing up in the character, my neighbor, when she was 7, was going to do the same type thing for school. And so her mama made her the whole outfit and all, and pretty soon she looked so cute. And Maria called me and said, can you think of a Minnie Pearl joke that would be appropriate for 7-year-old Allison to tell? And we always thought about her as family humor, you know, but we got to thinking, well, so many of her stories were about Uncle Nabob drunk. Well, 7-year-old girl can't tell that at school, or about checking the fellas up, or out of them feeling her up one side, and I'll do that again, I'll write you a check. Well, I couldn't think of one. I finally called, that's when Debbie Logue was at the Opry, and I called Debbie and I said, we have a problem here. Debbie said, let me give that some thought. About an hour and a half later, she called back, and somebody finally thought of a joke for her to tell. And she told the one about the teacher sending brother home from school because he had the pox. Mama sent him back, said, he ain't got no pox. We just been learning him to eat with the folk. That got her a good mark at school.
Well, you know, so much of the foundation of the Opry was built on comedy. There was, I mean, going back, you know, generations, have been so many come through there. Aside from Mike Snyder, the humor from the Riders in the Sky and people, there's not a lot of comedy at the Opry like there used to be. You think, are we taking it too serious these days? Do we need somebody to come in and lighten it up?
No.
Yeah.
Well, you need to wear a big hat, I think.
Yeah.
And chaps.
A big hat and chaps definitely help. We did a show with Minnie, a TV show, and we were sitting in the makeup room. I was in one chair and she was in the next chair, and I had a dream about her several weeks earlier that was really an R-rated dream, if you can imagine, which I still can't imagine why I had this dream. But I sat next to her in the chair and she's getting all done. I said, you know, Minnie, I had a dream about you, and I blushed, you know, and she looked at me over, you know, twinkling, and she said, if I was 30 years younger, we'd make that dream come true. I was like, whoa, the goddess is flirting with me. It's like, oh my Lord.
Boy, that's Minnie.
Yeah.
You worked with her all those years on Hee Haw.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And when we weren't on Hee Haw, we worked together. Minnie and I had an affair. We really did. We were that close that we went through the brother and sister phase, and we became very close. You know, I had to change that a little bit. That we, when you know, she loved everyone, and when she would meet you, hadn't seen you for a while, she'd walk up and hug you and stuff. I got offended when she hugged anybody else. She was my personal property. That's where I got to that point.
What did Henry think about that?
Oh, he was part of it. That's what made it safe. Yeah. But the first, we worked in Texas. The first time we met, close together. And I was laughing so hard that she turned around and dedicated about 5 minutes to the guy down there that's getting all of my jokes. And the one that stuck out was she said, I wouldn't go swimming with the girls because I had a hole in the elbow of my swimsuit. And I thought that's the funniest thing I ever heard.
Yeah. That's funny. We've all got Minnie Pearl stories. We probably ought to get some more music back onto the show. The band's falling asleep over there. I tell you who'll wake them up with a great country song. That's our buddy Ray Pilla, because nobody sings a staunch country song better than you do, pal.
Thank you. You want me to go right now?
Yeah, go up there with them and wake them up and get them going good. You come on the Opry and sing a real, would you call it Texas honky-tonk music? Is that how you would describe it?
I don't know. It's just feel-good music to me. I just like.
Well, you really do it well, and you always give the band a chance to shine.
Well, thank you. They deserve everything we can do for them. I'll tell you that.
I think you're planning on paying tribute to Ray Price by doing this.
You know what, I am, and I'm really honored to get to do this. And when Terry called and asked if I would like to be a part of it, and think of somebody that that I enjoy or love, and their music and their songs and so forth. And I said, yeah, let me think about it. So I thought about all the great acts that had meant so much to me personally over the years, like Carl Smith and Ray Price and Marty Robbins and just those people. Can you imagine coming to the Opry back in the 60s and all of those guys being on one show, So anyway, I thought of this song that Ray Price put out, and it's back in 1960, I think, 61 or something like that. I don't remember the words to it, but I'm gonna try to get through it. And it's called, you guys will know, I know you'll know this song, but it's called My Shoes Keep Walking Back to You.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I may say that I don't care, hold my head up in the air, even tell my friends I'm glad that you don't call. But when the day is through, my heartaches start anew, and that's when I miss you most of all. And my arms keep reaching for you, my eyes keep searching for you, my lips keep calling for you, and my shoes keep walking back to you. No matter how much I pretend, I wish I had you back again, for nothing else means half as much as you. My world just seemed to die the day you said goodbye, and I can't forget no matter what I do. And my arms keep reaching for you, my eyes keep searching for you, my lips keep calling for you, and my shoes keep walking back to you, and my shoes keep walking back to you.
Yeah! All right.
Man, I always get so nervous when I do these things. I can hardly stand up.
Hey, I want to say something. There is not a more generous singer with musicians. You can see it with him and the Opry band every week. They love him. They love when he's coming on, and he loves them.
Well,
and he doesn't mind if somebody's showing out. I used to stand back there and watch Billy Linneman. He would wait for you all night because he's going to get to just swing his heart out. And I just appreciate his generosity with how the band loves him.
I've always appreciated these guys, and this one right here goes back with me to like late 50s, I think.
At least.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been knowing each other a long time. But you know, it's such a thrill to be a part of this Grand Ole Opry, this show that we call the Grand Ole Opry, and to be a part of it, and to live in a time period where you not only knew all of these famous people that we're singing songs of, but we became friends with them, you know?
Same way.
And I mean, Grandpa and String Bean and all of these characters, man, that were such wonderful people. So I enjoy it. I'm nervous. I got to sit down.
You know what I was thinking as you were doing that
What?
great song there, which was written by a disc jockey out in California named Lee Ross.
I wondered who wrote that
Lee
song.
Ross wrote that. It's a very well written and well crafted
Yeah, I know it.
song.
I know.
You can take.
What would you know about that?
I don't. I had no darling about it. But I listened to that, and that's a sad song, but it's feel-good music.
Yeah.
It's just feel-good music. The way
That's country
that
music,
it's done.
Bill.
You know, can I tell you a quick story?
Please do.
I deal at Harris Teeter a lot, and Joanne and I would go to the grocery store and hang out. We love shopping up there. And when they opened this new Harris Teeter over on Highway 100, we went in there and over a period of time, after you deal somewhere, people know who you are and you were part of the Opry or something. But nobody ever knew who I was in there, and I never told anybody or anything. And the manager finally, one day he said, "I heard you were on the Grand Ole Opry." And I said, yeah, I've been on. We talked about that a little bit. So about 6 months went by, and he came over. I was in there, and he came over, and he said, Ray Price had been on the Opry that Saturday night. And he said, you know, I never had been to the Grand Ole Opry. And he said, I came Saturday night. I had company in town. He said, I brought them to the Grand Ole Opry. And he said, you were on. You did a good job. He said, I wonder who that old man was that came out there and just opened his mouth and just sang out to the whole place. I said, that was Ray Price, buddy.
Hey, does that bother you when somebody says, I've lived in Nashville all my life and I ain't never been to the Grand Ole Opry?
Yeah, it makes me feel sorry for him.
Yeah. Or they'll say, I only went to the Opry because I had company in town.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
what
wanted to
happened
go.
on that.
Yeah. There ought to be a law against living in Nashville all your life, not going to the Grand Ole Opry.
But you can't imagine that. I just can't imagine.
I can't either.
As much as when I lived in Virginia, as much as I loved Nashville, Tennessee, I got another story I can tell you.
Go ahead.
When I first came to this town, I told Joanne, I said, we're going to go to Nashville. And I didn't have any money. And I said, I know that I can get a job within 2 weeks after I get there. I'll have a job if I have to go, do anything. So I came to Nashville and I got a job at Firestone. And I went up there and signed a little paper or something and whatever. And this guy came over and interviewed me. And he was the manager of the store. And he said, and we became really good friends and have stayed friends all our lives. And he said, but I lied to him. He said, I don't understand. You just came to Nashville. You just moved to Nashville with a wife and 3 kids. What made you do that? And I said, man, when I was in the Navy, I came through Nashville from Millington, Tennessee, the air station up there. And I said, I came through Nashville and I just loved it. And I said, one of these days I'm going to live there. And he caught me, man. About 6 months later, I was on the Opry and he came to the show. And he said, I want to see you in my office. This was Monday. And his office was upstairs in the attic where all the tires were, you know. And I was up there standing waiting on him. He came up and he said, I came to the Opry Saturday night. And I said, oh, Lord, here it is. And he said, I can't remember the guy's name. It was a division manager. He'd gone with him to the Opry. And he said, he wants me to fire you this morning. And I said, well, it was a good run while it lasted. He said, I'm not going to do it. He said, you work, you're a good worker. And he said, I know what you want. You want it bad enough, but you stay here as long as you can.
Oh,
you know?
awesome. That's great.
So I sold some more tires that day.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that.
That's a great story.
Yeah. It's talking about great songs. John Conlee came in here yesterday and sang a song that I had never heard.
Oh, wow.
This is one of the most, you stood there next to me and we listened to him in rehearsal. This is one of the most powerful songs I've heard in a long time. And our buddy Vince Gill is one of the writers on it. And Leslie Satcher, a lady who's a fabulous songwriter and a great singer. John, you said you heard this. This is in Vince's album, newest album?
It's in his current album as we tape this. And I bought the album, and I love the whole album, but I just zeroed in on this song. I mean, this song, it just hit my heart and tells a great story. And some time ago, Vince was appearing on the Opry the same night I was, and I went into the dressing room. I said, is there any way in the world you could do this song on the Opry tonight? And he said, well, I don't know. I don't really do it that much. But he said, let me think about it. So he thought about it, and sure enough, he did it on the Opry that night, and just nailed it. And my first question when they asked me about doing today's show, I said, is Vince going to be there? And Terry said, no, he's not scheduled to be there. I said, well, then I know the song I want to do. If he had been here, I was going to try to talk him into doing it. But in the meantime, I'd like to take a stab at it.
Well, it's a great song. I want you to come up here and share it with everybody. I doubt that many people, if anybody in the room,
I was standing there by John the night that Vince sang it at the Opry.
Yeah,
and it's a great song, but I couldn't help but watch John because I knew how moved he was, and I said, you'll be doing that one, won't you, brother?
Well, I'd already told, in fact, that night I told Vince that I was in the process, I was going to learn it and start doing it. And so we've just done that in the last few weeks. And so listen closely to this. This is called Bread and Water. One night he wandered into that old mission, the one down on the poor side of town. He really had no interest in salvation, just a place to lay his drunk old body down. He said, ma'am, I sure am hungry, but I don't have a penny to my name. Lord knows I haven't worked in a month of Sundays. I'm dirty, dead broke, and so ashamed. My feet. I ain't too proud to get down on my knees if the bread and water's free. She said, you're always welcome at this table, 'cause brother, you
look like you could use a friend. And there's no need to pay if you're not able. For even Jesus was a homeless man. She opened up the Word and started reading about the Savior and the woman at the well. Said, it's not for me to judge this life you're leading, but only two things that can save your soul from hell. It's bread and water, and that's all you need. Bread and water, a place to rest your feet. If you ain't too proud to get down on your knees, the bread and water's free. When he bowed his head, he kind of choked up. They spoke every word of our Lord's Prayer. Then he closed his eyes and never woke up. But he'll find bread and water waiting there. It's bread and water, and that's all you need. Bread and water, a place to rest your feet. Bread and water, and that's all you need. Bread and water, brother, just believe. If you ain't too proud to get down on your knees, the bread and water's free. The bread and water's free. Bread and water.
Thank you, Vince and Leslie.
It's songs like that that remind us all why we got into country music.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that. I haven't heard Vince's record. I can't imagine. I know, and I love Vince, and we all do. I can't imagine him singing it a whole lot better than John Conlee just sang it.
I'm just figuring on helping him out, you know.
Poor old boy needs it.
He does, yeah.
Oh, that's terrific, John Conlee.
Yes,
Great
Bill.
interpretation. Yeah. Are you not wired up?
I don't know. I just wanted to say one thing. You know, Carol was talking earlier about this being a family, and we've all been kind of paying tribute to those who came before us. And it just struck me that John Conlee is paying tribute to one who came like a little brother to us. This is a family, and that's what makes it a family. I just had to say that. Yeah.
And will the circle be unbroken? Yeah. I found out something while John was singing that I did not know. On the day that we are here gathered and recording this show, it is Gene Watson's birthday. Nobody bothered to tell us. I think we need to sing happy birthday to Gene Watson. G work?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gene. Happy birthday to you.
I don't know of anybody that's had happy birthday sung to them by so many artists, so many legends. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
I won't ask you how old you are unless you want to tell.
Oh, I don't mind telling you. 64.
64 years
No,
old.
69.
Now he's denying that.
Oh, no.
You got your whole
It's-
life ahead of you.
You know, everybody says, I ain't having no more. Boy, I hope I do.
He beats the alternative.
You
don't
ain't
he?
lying.
He told me he's had 19 birthdays since 50.
I failed math in school. I don't know where to go with that. Tiffus,
Yes,
we hadn't
sir.
heard a song from you.
Well, you know, I got one to sing, and I've never sung it before, so I've been praying hard about it, boy. I woke up at 12:30 last night. I couldn't sleep. I bet I listened to this song. I know I listened to it 15 times, so it ought to be, let me see how Barney put it. It ought to be carved in the deepest recesses of my subconscious id by now.
Well, I can think of a lot worse songs to listen to in the middle of the night than to listen to this one.
Oh, man, you know, Mr. Jack, and I would tell him every time I see him at the Opry and he sings it, I go, man, you're still right on it.
Tell her Jack Green.
Yeah, Jack Green. Dead on pitch. Everything, you know, it's just amazing.
I always say when I introduce him on the show and he's going to do this song or he's done it, that this song's been recorded by many, many people, but nobody sings it better than the original record by Jack
Hey, I
Green.
got a question. You probably know. Did David Ruffin write this song? You know, I think he was with the Temptations or...
One of the writers of this song was Jan Crutchfield. I'm not sure
I don't know.
who else was involved.
Sheila, when Sheila downloaded the lyrics, she thought David Ruffin, but that was totally...
I got a book back in the dressing room. I can check it.
Well, we will later on.
I can Google it.
Google, baby.
That's right.
Google all you
Modern
want.
technology.
That's a word you never thought you'd hear at the Grand Ole Opry. Years ago, Google.
You heard Google. Yeah.
Go get a goo-goo, yeah. That's not the same as Google. All right, while we're Googling, how about you singing it for us?
All right, buddy.
T. Graham Brown, you look great, pal.
Let's see.
Great to have
Thank
back
you
on
so
the show.
much. I got so many notes, Bill, it takes two. You'll notice two music stands here. I got to make a mark here. Let's see if I got them in right. All right, you got it in order. Okay, all right. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have to wear these glasses. See, that was what I was going for.
It gets easier the older you get.
I understand. All right, no glasses. This is a first, I think. All right, Mike, whoever, Dirk, whichever one of y'all. Sounds like Owen Bradley. Did he produce the song? Oh, somewhere there should be for all the world to see a statue, Lord, a statue of a fool made of stone. Oh, it's the image of a man who let love slip through his hands, and then just let him stand there all alone. And there on his face, a golden tear should be placed to honor the million tears he cried. Jack Green put a little hurt in this, you know, and the hurt in his eyes would show, so everyone would know. Concealed is a broken heart inside. So build a statue. Oh, build it high. Oh, so
inscribed the world's greatest fool and name it after, oh, name it after me.
May God bless you.
Big Round Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Song was originally called Name It After Me. Yeah. But we all know it, of course, as Statue of a Fool.
I'm going to start doing that in the show.
Yes. You should, man.
I am. I definitely am.
It's a great job. You going to take the 2 music stands with you?
Hey, I tell you what I'll do, though. I'll get these lyrics so I don't have to write them again. I'm telling you. See, I wrote them big. Heck yeah, I'm keeping these.
We got to take a short break. There will be more Country's Family Reunion after this.
My goodness, that went by in a hurry.
Wow, what fun. Yeah. What fun, man. I was nervous, but boy, y'all made it easier.